Good morning, leaders. I'm thrilled to kick off the second day of our annual retreat. Today, we will dive into energizing leadership training, meaningful fellowship, and of course, some Derby-style celebration. This is our time to grow, connect, and have a little fun along the way. So let's make it count. You see some scratch-off tickets at your table, or hopefully you do. If you scratch off a winning ticket, please turn this in at your first breakout to get some additional Derby dollars to use in tonight's raffle. Our speaker today has been empowering audiences around the world for over 24 years with the transformative power of improv. From leadership to teamwork, from communication to just better version of yourself, John Colby brings energy, insight, and a whole lot of fun to every room he enters. With a master's in education, background in theater, and a diploma from the world-famous Second City Conservatory, John masterfully blends laughter with learning. He's a seasoned educator, an improviser at heart, and a speaker who's worked with some of the top organizations in the country. And just most recently, MSN named John a top 10 speaker to follow in 2025. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. John Colby.
That's pretty good. Thanks. Hey, good morning. Make some noise if you remember me from last year. Make some noise if you weren't here or you don't remember me. Cool. And then make some noise if you're my actual cousin. Where's she at? Keep making noise. I'm looking for her. Yeah, so my actual cousin's here. We haven't seen each other in years, but we connected on Facebook, and so I'm excited to reconnect with her. And the rest of you as well. Hey, let's get started. For those of you that haven't seen me, I'm going to reintroduce the rules of improv so you know what we're doing in a shorter version. But I need to make sure you're all going to be with me. So let's do a test. Red Robin. Okay, this side was way better than this side. So I don't know if it's because I was standing over there. Let me come over here. Let's try another one. We are farmers. Not bad, not bad. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. There we go. Okay, McDonald's brings us all together. Like, it's killing us all, but it brings us together. Fantastic. So I just want to make sure you're awake. Hi, I'm John Colby. I've done improv for a very long time. What I'm going to do is teach you some improv stuff. So for those of you that were here last year, here's a review of the rules. For those of you who weren't, here's a very quick explanation. The number one rule is yes and. Yes and means we're going to agree, and then we're going to all speak up. So you'll be playing games over the next couple days with me. When you're playing games, it's imperative that everybody plays. If you really don't want to play a certain game, just act like you have to go to the bathroom and just leave and go play on your phone for 3 minutes and then come back, okay? But none of the games are going to make you feel pressured, okay? And then the yes part, I want to make sure you understand the yes part. Some of you are natural buttholes. Okay, you're naturally that person. I like the lady over there going, yes, I am, right? That basically means when somebody presents an idea to you or shares a thought, you're the person who tries to tell them why it's a bad idea. You tell them why they're wrong. You tell them why it's not going to work. I'm not going to get into all the science because I did that last year, but you're making other people worse at their jobs when you're doing that. So whether somebody at work shares an idea or your friend is talking about the new guy they're dating that you don't think is good for them, I don't want you to just tell them it's a bad idea. I want you to have a conversation about it. Okay? Number two is no mistakes. That means you can't mess up. While we're playing games, if somebody says something wrong or just messes up a game, you don't call them out. Because when people get called out, their amygdala gets hijacked and you don't think well. Your amygdala is the part of your brain that processes emotions. Remember that? When your emotions are strong, you don't make good decisions for up to 4 hours. So we're not calling people out. Number three is be fully present. Being fully present means you're not on your phones, you're not having side conversations, and then when you're at work, you're not trying to do a million things at the same time. I know sometimes you kind of feel like you have to, but I'll tell you, multitasking is a myth. Your brain is not capable of doing it. It's micro-switching and it's slowing you down more than you think it is. And number four is just have fun. Okay, have fun basically says when you're happy, you're better at everything, so let's do it. Okay, if you all will, let's count backwards from 5. Ready? 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. That was real slow. Let's do a little bit faster. Ready, go. Cool, that's the speed I want you to go. Now here's what's going to happen in just a moment. I'm going to have you all stand up. We're going to do what's called a shakedown countdown. And what that means is you're all going to lift your right hand. And right now some of you are going, wait, John, that's your left hand. I'm mirroring you so it's easier for you, okay? You're welcome, okay? So I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to shake it 5 times. I'm going to get rid of this. I think, yeah, I can do that. Then I'm going to use my right hand. And I'm going to, sorry, but it's going to be your left hand. And you're going to shake it 5 times. So you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you're right by your chair, so if you need to, hold on to your chair, and you're going to shake your right leg, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left leg, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to repeat, but we're only going to do 4 of each. So 4, 3, 2. 4 of each, then 3 of each, then 2 of each, then 1 of each. And then you all laugh and you sit down. Cool? Everybody stand up. Remember, keep that speed up. The game works a whole lot better if we go faster, so you don't have to balance on one leg that long. Ready? Right hand in the air. Here we go. Count with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. Louder. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Fantastic. Everybody have a seat. Have a seat. Now raise your hand if you messed up at least once during the game. Did I mess up? No, you didn't. I just said. Rule number 2. There are no mistakes. Now listen, I'll just ask. I didn't ask this last year. Raise your hand if you're a perfectionist. Yeah, look around. Look around. Keep them nice and high. Keep them up. Raise your hand if you're a perfectionist. Some of you aren't admitting it, but I can see it in your face, right? Half of you raised your hands. Others of you just don't know it or won't admit it. But I'll tell you, in my experience, a lot of successful people are perfectionists. And there's a good to it and a bad to it. The good to it is you normally do good work. You get into positions of leadership. People trust you and they want to follow you. But then also, it's never good enough for you. And what you do is never good enough for you. Let's be honest. A lot of you in this room hold yourself to an unattainable standard. If somebody else were to do it, you'd be fine with it. But when you do it, you beat yourself up. Parents, I'm talking to you. Bosses, I'm talking to you. Spouses, friends. If you're in positions of leadership at like church or whatever, you hold yourself to an unattainable standard and then you beat yourself up. I'm here to tell you, nobody else is worried about it. Nobody else is mad about it. When you mess up, honestly, it's a moment for you to learn. And it's a moment for the people in your life to see that you mess up and you work through it. So when I mess up, I'll work through it. So if you're a parent, you're a boss, you're in a leadership position in some other area, and you make a mistake and you just admit it, lets it go. This is something new this year that I've been talking about. Just when you talk about the things that stress you out, when you talk about the mistakes that you made, they don't get to hang out in your head and drive you insane anymore. It's the most freeing thing in the world. Okay, so the next time you mess up, the next time you botch something, you're frustrated with yourself, talk to somebody. And there's also science, and I mentioned last year, about talking out loud even to yourself can help. But talking out loud to other people takes the burden off of you. And what's the best part is, most of the time you admit your mistakes to other people, they're like, okay. And you're like, oh wait, nobody else cares. It sounds mean, but it's freeing. Okay, so let go of your mistakes. What I'm going to do is give you 1 minute. You can talk to people at your table, or you can just reflect on your own. What are some things that you've been frustrated with about yourself? Whether recently, work-related, personal-related. Take 1 minute and either think about it or talk about it. Again, if you talk about it, it releases it. Some of you aren't ready to be vulnerable yet, and that's okay. But take a minute and reflect on it. Go for it. Awesome, and that's time. Go ahead and give somebody a fist bump, especially if they admitted something they failed on. Makes you feel good. We celebrate that a little bit. Cool, you practiced your fist bumps. Now we're going to play a game with fist bumps. Okay, here's how it works. Right now, I need you to pick a number in your head between 1 and 5. If you're a math nerd, I need it to be a whole positive number. Okay, someone's like 3.1415. Okay, calm down. Right? So you all now have a number between 1 and 5 in your head. Okay? Don't tell anybody your number. What's going to happen in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to stand up and start walking around the room. You're not allowed to talk. But what you're going to do is go around and give people a fist bump. You are going to bump fists the number of times in your head. Does that make sense? So if my number is 3, I walk up and I go 1, 2, 3, and I'm good. However, if you've ever given another human a fist bump, you probably noticed that fist was connected to a human who had their own brain. And that person had to pick a number too. So if that person that remember I'm 3 and I walk up and their number is 2, we're going to walk up and go 1, 2, and then they're going to pull their hand away. And your brain's going to go, oh, they're a 2. But then after you take a second, lean back in and give them one more so they know you're 3. Then I go up to somebody else and they're a 5, and we go 1, 2, 3, and then I pull away a little bit, and they kind of look at me, and then they add 2 more, 4, 5. So the goal is to go around letting other people know your number only through the fist bumps, but then also to find out what those other people's numbers are. No talking in the game. But what often happens in this is 2 people will do this. It was 3. And then those go to somebody else. Or some of you trying not to break the no talking rule will do this. Right? That ruins the game, okay? It's a very, if you want, my very young daughters can play this game and they just yell 3 to everyone and then everybody knows. But that's not the point of the game, okay? Only if you get confused, like literally do one of those, I don't get this, hold on, let's back up, and then slow it down and try again. Communicate your number, get their number, and then go on to somebody else, okay? Now listen, you're going to have about 90 seconds to do this. And my challenge to you is try and get away from your table. Because what ends up happening is you only end up learning the number of the people right near you. It will help for the rest of the game to get around the room a little bit more. Got it? So stand up. You all have your number. Don't tell anybody your number. Starting right now, no talking, and go. If you mess up, just reset and try again. Yeah, don't panic. Tim, it's your birthday, but I see you cheating. It's just bumps. Just bumps. Okay, finish the last one you're on, and then turn toward me. Finish that last one, then turn toward me. If you're not doing one right now, just turn toward me. You don't have to try and get one more in. Cool, now, can we all agree on one number? Don't talk about it. I want you to think about what number we've had the most, what number you're recognizing the most. We're going to have 90 more seconds to go around and try and confirm or try and share what the correct number is, right? So see if we can all get to the same number in 90 more seconds. And I love to see your wheels turning. Everybody's kind of like, how many were that? All right, you weren't counting because I didn't tell you, but you kind of have an idea. Got it? 90 more seconds, still no talking. Try and come to the same number. Go for it. No talking, no talking. No apologizing. You're allowed to have whatever answer you want. Try and get away from your table. Some of you are just standing at your table. Okay, finish that last one, then turn toward me. Just finish the last one, turn toward me. You don't have to go back to your seats, just wherever you are. Cool, now you all have the correct number in your head, right? I'm gonna count each number. I don't care what other people do. I want you to pick the number you have right now and raise your hand when I say that number. Raise your hand if the number is 1. Raise your hand if it is 2. Raise your hand if it is 3. Raise your hand if it is 4. Raise your hand if it is 5. Cool, raise your hand if you don't care. Cool, I don't care. Here's the deal. I don't care about your answer. I care about your attitude. And let me tell a lot of observations of what I watch from your group. Like some of you, when I told you to pick a number, you had your number, and that is the right number. So I saw somebody who walked over to somebody and go, and like walked away. Like, we're not having a discussion about this. I don't care if you have any more. I saw another lady even more aggressively. She went, like, but then what's funny is I saw somebody else, they waited, the person did 3, they go bump, 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 and then the other lady goes, like, look, I'm not going to say anything, but you're wrong, right? The point to this game isn't about getting the right number. The point to this game is, are you open? Are you trying to figure things out? Did you pick that number when I said pick the number, and then you bump fists with 12 people and they all picked the same number, but you stuck to your number? And by the way, I'm not talking about numbers right now. I'm talking about life. When you believe what you believe politically or religiously or about pineapple on pizza, and then people share other opinions and you just go, they're crazy. I'm like, you can't deny facts. You can't deny opinions. All you can do is listen. Like, you can have an opinion, I can have an opinion, but if I tell you your opinion is wrong, you're going to get mad. If I tell you your facts are wrong, you're going to get mad. So all I can do is listen anyway. I'm not going to argue with anybody. But I'm telling you, we as a country do this all the time. Somebody says something you don't agree with, and you immediately are like, they're crazy. I'm like, no, how about this? I challenge you, the next time you get into a conversation that you get emotional about, whatever topic it is, go into the conversation assuming you're wrong. Because if I'm wrong, or I'm neutral, if you don't like the idea of being wrong, some of you are like, I'm not wrong. You get defensive even when I say that. Just be neutral then. Go in saying you don't know yet. And what's funny is if you go in neutral or like thinking you're wrong, you are more likely to change their mind as well as they're more likely to change yours. Because if I don't know all the answers, I'm just here to learn. And I'm going to listen to what you have to say. And a lot of times people talk enough that they realize they're wrong. Like in the sales world, when I'm talking to salespeople, I explain, just be quiet. People will talk themselves into sales. People will over-explain things, and you can watch their gears realize they don't know what they're talking about, or you can watch people realize they do know what they're talking about. So if I'm just going to let you run the show, you're going to tell me some stuff, we're going to come to better consensus if I just listen and assume I'm wrong. Again, if you tell other people they're wrong, they shut down. I might have mentioned this last year, but I always like to say it. Raise your hand if you've ever been in an argument. Halfway through the argument, you realize you were wrong, but you kept fighting for it anyway. Raise your hand. Yeah, the majority of us do that. Because again, once we feel attacked, the part of our brain that learns shuts down. Like if a bear showed up in front of you right now, you wouldn't go, let's have a thoughtful conversation about this, right? You panic. Once you get emotional, you're no good. So in this game, when you go up to bump fists, like I didn't say that you could change. I said, pick your number right now. In the second round, I go see what everybody is. And the goal is to get to the same thing. Let me say this. You're allowed to change your mind. Let me say it again. You're allowed to change your mind. I'm a Christian, I'm a religious person, but my views on a lot of topics have changed over my 46 years of life through a stronger understanding of the Bible. And I don't mean to get religious and stuff like that, but like we're all just taught things, and as a kid, you just kind of trust. But my favorite thing to kind of explain trust, I heard a comedian one time say like, you think people that believe in conspiracy theories are crazy, right? Like, oh, conspiracy theorists. He's like, but you don't believe in any of them? He's like, you think the government is being 100% honest all the time? The guy goes, I have one kid, and sometimes I lie to that kid. You think the government's never lying to you? And I'm like, that's a good point, right? So the concept here is people have their own opinions, their own agendas, and you should too. Your own opinion, your own agenda, but just listen. This fist bumping game, the next time you start to get emotional, I want you to think of that face. Are you one of those people that goes, you're wrong, or those people that goes, what can I learn? Cool? For the next game, I need you to find a partner right near you. To somebody, if it's somebody you don't know, it's great. If it's somebody you do know, just as good. Either way. High five your partner when you have one, so I know everybody has one. If you don't have a partner, just raise your hand and then look for somebody else with their hand up. Don't walk back to your seats. Don't try and go back to where you're comfortable. Just, again, if you don't have a partner, raise your hand. Somebody over here needs one. Somebody, oh, you have a partner. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. Somebody over here needs one. Who else doesn't? Tim doesn't have a partner right over there. Are you walking toward each other? Oh, wait. Oh, they stole. No, okay, there. Those two dudes over there. No, Tim, they. Hold on. What happened? There was somebody. Oh, she found somebody. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Now, does everybody have a partner? Awesome. Oh, we have one person right here who doesn't have one. Does everybody else in the room have a partner? No groups of 3. It's a large group, so you could cheat. But what do we learn when we cheat, right? Cool, so you can make one group of 3. You can join them and make a group of 3, and I'll explain how it works, okay? Here's what's going to happen. Right now, I need you all to think of a noun. For those of you going, oh, Lord, that's elementary school, I don't know if I remember. It's a person, place, or thing, or an idea, right? So I want you all to think of a word right now, okay? Here's the way the game works. You're going to turn to your partner, if you're in a group of 3, I'll explain in a second, and you're going to look down at the floor, and you'll think of your word. Once I have my word and I'm ready to say it, I'm going to look up at my partner's eyes. If they're not ready, their head is already down. Once they look up, we'll make eye contact. As soon as you make eye contact with your partner, you both count to 3 out loud together. We go 1, 2, 3, and then we both say our word. Now we have a word, or 2 different words, and your brain's job is to figure out what 2 words, what 1 word those 2 words make you think of. So for an example, one time I was at a conference, actually my wife was with me, so I had her come up and play, and she's like, don't ever do that again. Got it. But in that moment, we went 1, 2, 3, and I said soccer, and she said taco. Cool? Because my wife loves tacos as much as I do. Soccer and taco. So right now, don't say it out loud, but what word does it make you think of? So then we put our heads down, we both thought of our next word, we made eye contact, we went 1, 2, 3, Mexico. And that was it. Like, it was a bad example because you don't normally get it that quickly. But also, my wife and I are married, so we spend a lot of time together. The more you spend time with people, the better you'll be at this game. I've found the people that are really good at this are close siblings because you've been together your entire life. And so it's kind of cool. If you're close with your kids, like this is a fun game, by the way, to play when you're in line at like Kings Island, or when you're like on a car trip or whatever, and we call it mind meld, because basically I'm trying to get on the same wavelength with my partner, okay? So we go 1, 2, 3. Now if I'd said Mexico and she'd said game, well that doesn't work. So now we have Mexico and game. Now here, Mexico and game, your brain goes, okay, soccer. No, because I just said soccer. You try not to repeat the words you've already said. If you do repeat, there's no mistakes. But my partner knows we're not trying to repeat either, so they're probably not going to say that. But if you do, it's no big deal. So we think of a word, get the word, look up at partner, 1, 2, 3, say the words. Confer, if you didn't hear what their word was, you can go, wait, what was your word again? That's the only thing you're allowed to talk about. Don't justify, don't apologize. So often people will get a word in their head like, oh, no, they're not going to think. I'm sorry, I was thinking, no, we don't care. Your justification doesn't matter. The first word that you think of that combines those 2, that's your word. Got it? And if you have 3, it'll be 2 people play, then the person that just played will play with the next one. And so basically you'll play 2 at a time, kind of in a circle. Got it? Okay, turn to your partner, heads down, think of your word. When you have your word, look up, make eye contact. The rest of the game's on your own. Go for it. 1, 2, 3. Chip. If you get a match, you can play again. We have about 2 minutes left. If you've already gotten a match, see if you can do a new one. Now I'm going to take an informal poll here, an informal poll. Raise your hand if you and your partner got at least 1 match. Raise your hand if you got at least 1. Did anybody get more than 1? Did anybody get... Awesome, we got a good number of people. Raise your hand if you did not get a match at all. Cool. Now I hear some laughter, kids. Stop it. Let me talk about this. The match doesn't matter. Again, I always mention this. I don't care about the result. I care about the process. And this game is all about just getting you to go, just getting your brain to talk. Some of you that got matches, some of you got them very quickly. Other people didn't get one at all. There are a million factors that go into this. One of the factors is the words that you said to start. So if you get two words that just naturally fit together, you might get a match quicker. Also, some of you were partnered up with somebody that you know. Some of you were partnered with a stranger. Now, just because it's a stranger doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to do well. But if you're very different from the other person, you have very different life experience than the other person, your brain is going to have different reference points. This is why I said, like, married people or brothers and sisters and stuff like that, the stronger the connection, the more similar experiences you've had to draw from when your brain is thinking. But the game isn't about that. The game is just about you not filtering your own thoughts. Just say, like, I'll go ahead and tell you what I'm doing. The last game we played with the fist bumps was all about yesing. Like being open, not being the butthole, but being open to other ideas. This game is about the and, making sure we speak up. So my question is, in this game, did you ever think of one, but then not say that one because you're like, no, they're not going to get that? Did anybody catch yourself doing that where you're like, you would think, I see some head nods, you're like, well, no, they're not going to get that. That's from, like, that was a joke from middle school. Like, there's these random connections that help us make the match in our head. But I'm like, well, there's no way he's going to know that. So we hold our own thoughts back. When you do that, you're limiting your brain's ability to move forward. If you remember brainstorming when you were in elementary school, it's like there's no wrong ideas. Let's just write everything you're thinking down on the board. It's allowing your brain to, number one, share ideas so that other people can run with those ideas, but it's also getting those ideas out of your brain so more thoughts can form. Sometimes you get so focused on something, but you don't talk about it, and then your brain just feels like it needs to continue to analyze it and continue to think about it. But if I say it out loud, like we talked about earlier, you kind of take away the power of those anxious moments, but also what you're doing is allowing your brain to think of other things. So in this game, I don't care if you didn't get a match. I care about if you were confident with the words that you said. And I actually saw some people, and I even said before, like, don't apologize for what you said. I still saw people apologizing. I still saw people justifying why they said what they said. Well, it's because, I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. Whatever you think is okay. Whatever you believe is okay. Whatever you feel is okay. You're allowed to think thoughts. You're allowed to share ideas. But the thing is, your leadership team wants to hear your ideas. Like, this is how we grow. This is how we improve. So when you go back to work next week and you're doing your normal job and you notice something and your brain goes, I think blank could make that better. What if we did that? I wish that they would, if you ever use that phrase, they, you have to say it out loud because it's never going to happen. Some of you are guilty of sharing your great ideas with your spouse or a friend. But unless, is anybody married to somebody who also works here? Is anybody in this room? Making sure, no? Then that's stupid. Because they can't do anything. It's like, you know what would be a good idea? And I tell my wife's like, I'll tell Steve. I'll let him know your thoughts. Like, that's not going to work, right? Tell the people who can do something about it. But then also, if you're in a position of leadership, are you asking for those ideas from your people? Are you asking for those ideas from your own kids? The more you let people have an opportunity, and then when they give you their feedback, you look receptive in that yes and kind of attitude where we just talk about it, it helps them grow even more as well. Okay? So raise your hand, and don't raise your hand unless you're real. If you promise me that you will try and speak up more and that you will ask for ideas from other people. Raise your hand if you'll try. That's a legally binding agreement, okay? I could take you to court over that. I'm just saying, like, Your Honor, she raised her hand. Okay, so let's play another game. For this next game, you're just going to stay at your table. I'm not going to make you get up. This game is basically going to be a story. So we're going to go somewhere cool, somewhere in the U.S., but not Disney World or New York, because those are the ones people say. So where's a cool place we could go in the U.S.? Yellowstone. Cool. If you know a lot about Yellowstone, fantastic. If you don't, just make it up, okay? The story is going to start like this. Right now, everybody point to one person at your table. This is bullying. Everybody point to the same person. Everybody point to the same person. Got all point to one. All point to one. There you go. There you go. That's how it works, right? This is called voluntelling someone, okay? Here's the joke. The person that just got voluntold to go first, you have the easiest job to start. Got him. Here's what you do. Person that's going to go first, literally your sentence is this. We went to Yellowstone, and then you get to point to your left or to your right, and you're going to tell us which way we're going to go. And then we're just going to start going around the circle. Each person gets one sentence. Now listen, every sentence has to start with this, but then, and then you add the next sentence. And then that next person says, but then. So we're adding these twists and turns, trying to make the story fun, right? So again, the person you all pointed to says, we went to Yellowstone. They pick which direction the circle is going to go. But then, and then you're going to go around. You'll probably get around the circle about twice because we're going to play for about 90 seconds, okay? No side conversations, no questions asked. Just be loud enough so we can all hear it. We went to Yellowstone, but then, go for it. Fifteen seconds left, 15 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And give yourselves a hand. Nicely done. I don't know if I've ever heard so much laughter during that game. So you're doing something right. Now there's a second round of this game. So we had Yellowstone in the first one. Where's somewhere else cool we could go? Somebody from over here. Where? Oh, Gatlinburg. Fantastic. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Now, same person you bullied earlier is going to go first. This time, they're going to say, we went to Gatlinburg, and then point the other direction. Again, you made them go first, but they got the easy job. Okay, we went to Gatlinburg, but now, instead of saying, but then, you're just going to say, and then, so it's just and instead of but. So, and then, blank, and then, blank, and then, blank. That's the only difference. Got it? We went to Gatlinburg, and then, go for it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, give yourself a round of applause. Nicely done. So, first of all, I want to point out that both rounds of this game are a great example of yes and. For every amount of sentences one person got, everybody else in the group got the same amount. I will tell you, the more your leadership can look like this, research shows the more productive and collaborative your team will be. Because if I feel like I'm going to get opportunities to talk, I feel like I should be engaged in what's going on, sharing my ideas. I should also be listening to other people's ideas. If it's just leadership talks and everybody else listens, people disengage because you're going to repeat it. You're going to repeat it several times, so I don't need to listen this time. Or I just can't focus that long, even if I'm trying to be a good member of the team. My brain starts to zone out. But again, you would talk, and then you would listen to 4 or 5 people, and then you would get to talk again. If we could have those kind of moments, when we go into the breakout, pay attention to the breakout that I'm helping with. I make sure that in the 45-minute window, everybody in the group gets to talk. a few different times, right? Just to keep them engaged. But now here's my question. In this specific game, which round did you like more? Did you like the but then, or did you like the yes and? Which did you like being a part of more? Raise your hand if you preferred the but then. Raise your hand if you like the yes and. Look at that. The and then is literally yes and. Because you're taking in an idea and then you're adding to it. That's what yes and is. Now, is somebody brave enough to talk in front of everybody and tell me why you like the and then story better? Do what? Somebody's talking. I'm trying to find who was saying it. Yell it. Yeah, you're included to it. Literally, in the yes and, people are taking your ideas and then running with them. And that's what everybody wants. I just had dinner with my friend last night, and we were talking about all people really want is to feel like they matter. Right? They just want to feel like they matter. And this, your idea matters, and we used it. Now, the but thens, don't get me wrong, some people like the but then better just because that specific story was funny. But when you're in a but then kind of culture all the time, it beats you down. Because like you try, did you notice in your but then story, somebody's like, but then they found $1 million. And the next person goes, but then it exploded and they lost all their money. And like, but then they won a free trip to France. But then they said they weren't allowed to take any clothes with them. Like what? Like what? It's like no matter what you do, but then basically it's the game built to shoot down ideas. And all it is, the only change I made was and or but. Now how many of you are buts? Think about it. How many of you try and be a good boss, try and be an open-minded spouse, open-minded parent, and like people bring your ideas like, yeah, that's great, but, and there it is. And I'll tell you, if you don't know if you are or not, ask your kids. Ask your spouse. Ask your friends. Ask the people on your staff. If they honestly love you and trust you enough, they'll tell you the truth. And a lot more of us are butts than we know about. So I'm begging you, do something to make sure you're not just a yes but, you're a yes and. I'll tell you, I work with a company down in Tampa, and they have board meetings, and part of what I did for them, I sat and observed one of their board meetings, and I talked about it. I'm like, you're a bunch of butts. Like everything everybody says, like you're all trying to be polite, like, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. And have we considered is the phrase they have learned to say, so they're not actually saying no or but have we considered is my way of going, that's not a good idea because you probably didn't think about that. And so what they did, they went online and bought an ampersand, an and symbol, and it sits on the middle of their conference table. And now when they sit and talk, their brain goes, remember, be an and person. Build on ideas. What can we use from that idea and grow from it instead of shooting each other down, right? We'll be together again this afternoon. We'll be together tomorrow morning. I'm encouraging you to continue to be a yes and person. Can we do that? Yes. Fantastic. I'll see you this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, John, for that terrific session that you just conducted. So we appreciate that, and it's great to have you back. And not that I'm OCD or anything, but I've got all kinds of props up here. Not that I'm a perfectionist at all, but I've got a monitor, time clock, water, and like 3 backups to move the slides forward. So I don't know what you're talking about. So today I'm going to give you just a quick overview update on the organization, things that are going on. And I have to start, and this is really what I've started every presentation that I've given this year with. And that is ASC is celebrating its 25th anniversary. And so you think about that, and just in your personal relationships and so forth. But 25 years is a long period of time, and so we have some different celebrations planned throughout the year that are going to run from May to October at each of your facilities. And so we'll hear more about this tomorrow. The 25-year history when we have the Jacksons on stage tomorrow. So I don't want to steal too much of their conversation and questions. This slide here is just to remind everybody what you're part of. And when you look at this map, you know, we have 102 communities in 51 counties and 59 cities across the great state of Indiana. And so, and our latest edition has been the Commons on Meridian, which is at 86th and Meridian. So that was our last acquisition that we did. If you're ever in the area, go by and see it, you know, because as you saw last night with Terre Haute, you know, you can see the performance of what we can do when given the amount of time to transition it. So, you know, I suspect that Meridian will be carrying some hardware pretty soon. The other item that I would just make mention to, and you know, we'll talk about this more, you know, in the 25 years, but when I look at this map, if we were to just kind of color code it in with passage of time, you know, the organization, you know, we started predominantly as skilled nursing, right? And then over time, you know, as assisted living, you know, became, you know, an industry concept, you know, we added that in. You know, the same thing goes with independent living and garden homes. And so what that speaks to is kind of the entrepreneur basis of our organization that was founded by Ethan Frank Jackson, you know, some 25 years ago. And so, you know, as entrepreneurs, you know, as times change, we've added to what we've done as a company. And then also we've added memory care, you know, and then 5 years ago, we added home health, hospice, and palliative care, you know, in select markets. That's branded under a new, but it still has common ownership with the Jackson family, which means that it's predicated on customer service and quality of care. And so that's a latest, you know, addition to the spectrum of services. And then lastly, and we'll talk about this later on here, we just formed our own Medicare Advantage plan with the joint venture. So what we're trying to do is be a forward-thinking, future-thinking, sophisticated organization that plays a large part of what's going on in the state of Indiana with respect to long-term care. And then that shouldn't surprise anybody, but we have over 11,000 employees. So this room represents, and what you manage, you know, makes a direct impact on the lives of seniors throughout the state. So never take that for granted. You know, as we talked last year, you know, we started doing some, you know, reshifting of HR, you know, and we've done so again, you know, starting in the fall, where, you know, we asked Kate, you know, to take on more leadership, and she became the CAO. And no, that's not Chief Accounting Officer, Mark, for your benefit. That's Chief Administrative Officer, which means that she's overseeing both legal and HR. And when I look at this collection of HR leaders, you know, we've got five terrific leaders in HR. And I think we can all sitting in this room know the complexity of HR. There's a lot of facets to it. And so we've started thinking about transforming, you know, that HR and that function, because we really want it to be a collaborative effort between HR, ops, and clinical. That triangle is critically important to our future success. That's why I always bring it up first, because if we don't take care of that employee base, you know, the rest of it's really for naught. You know, I won't share, you know, Kate, you know, when she, you know, accepted the role, first thing that she did was she got with her leadership group, and they came up with their own HR mission and vision. And I won't read it for you, but I just want you to know that they're focused on being a collaborative effort with the field. And that's a goal that we have, because HR is a service center to the field. And so we're gonna work tirelessly to make that triangle work. A couple of things that we did: reorganize. Again, we didn't do like wholesale changes of anything, but you know, some things that we did. You know, the primary focal point is just think about, we've moved from a centralized HR function to more of a regional focus. Like many departments, you know, we do things by region. And so, you know, we had made decisions over the years to centralize certain features. Now we're going back, because we feel like everything that works well, we do so on a regional basis. So each region will have a TAP and a regional director of HR. And then under Michelle, she not only runs CRG, but she manages all of the HR shared services, which is the hires, transfers, and anything that regards that personnel is centralized with her. And so we're trying to get it more focused, in terms of what we're doing. Now, just some stats, I think just to kind of recap from, kind of where we're at, kind of globally, we're right there with the industry average. When I look at our progress from 23 to 24, but I think as everybody appreciates in this room here, we'd like to get better, right? And so we don't want to be industry average. We want to be best. We want to be best in class. And so you'll see a lot of different things focused on, and we do some things extremely well, as the stats, but we also see where we have some opportunities where we need to change our focus. When I look at the overall trend, does anybody in the room know what a BHAG goal is? If you do, shout it out. Somebody knows what a BHAG is. All right, big, hairy, audacious goal. Thank you, Blake. Because he usually gives that to me, but if you think about that for a moment, 40%, if you remember last night at some of the award ceremony, we have people that are already doing this, in this room. There are several of you that can say, well, I'm already there. So the question is how do we set policies and procedures and protocols around bringing everybody to this goal? And so you can see the progress that we've made, but we want to take it a step further.
We can do it, Steve.
I know you can. Oh, thank you, Kate. I was wondering where you were at. So a tool that we just rolled out, is this through Activated Insights, is Retain. And it's a tool. And that's really what it is. And it's a tool that we put in place, for all of our employees to sign up for. But we really want to focus on a couple of things. One is we want to get input, because we have a nice recruiting process, but it also starts when we onboard, right? And so we want information, so we want to utilize this tool to give us information about how are we doing, 15 days, 30 days, 60, 90. And the point of it is to get that input and do something with it. The box on the right, that's literally from my email. So when I'm doing this slide deck, when I was doing this, I'm like, well, what could I put in here to demonstrate? And I'm like, well, I just popped open my own email. This is something that I get every day in my inbox. I didn't even have to do anything. And so what it allows me to do is I click on it and I see whose birthday is it, whose anniversary it is. And it gives me that information that right at my fingertips, and you have that same access. It's pertaining to your particular facility, but we have to use this information, right? And so if somebody gives us a red flag that may not be going well after 60 days, that's time to jump in and figure out, well, why? And so, it's through resources like this that we can utilize it to be better. And so that's the goal. No conversation can ever not have quality in it. And I don't know if Rebecca's somewhere in here. There's new data. I won't call her up because her face will turn the shade of my shirt here, but I won't do that. But quality is central to everything that we do, right? We have employees as a focal point, but the quality initiatives and the effort that we go to perform, this is meaningful, because when I go to meetings, it doesn't matter if I'm with, a hospital system, a legislator, a peer, everybody knows this data, because when you go into a meeting with, for example, a hospital group, they already know, in their region how the facilities perform. In fact, they usually hand me a list, right? And so Chad and Barbie, when they go in, this is what we're talking about. And so there's a lot of conversations around, you have to have a baseline to even have a conversation. So this is our external demonstration of what we're doing. because there's not a company in long-term care that doesn't say that they do quality. Everybody says that. But this is our way of measuring it with a metric that's not us. It's dictated by CMS. So this is our outwardly validation of what we do. And these stats are phenomenal. You know, anytime you can lead the state and the nation in terms of overall ratings, that's a very positive thing. And then just, because of human nature, we're always competitive. And, I know all of these CEOs pretty well. And so we're always very competitive with one another. And like I'll kid some of them on occasion. I'll walk into a room and I'll just, say, I didn't know they made 6th place ribbons. And so just to be joking with them. And, they do the same thing back to me. And so, but it's always nice to kind of know where we stand relative to the competition. And so, we don't really utilize it for anything other than to just measure how we're doing. Because we want to be a leader, and we are. On the back of last year, we had, as you recall, we had 40 award winners last year. And as a matter of fact, we were the second, we had the second highest total of any company in the nation. And so you guys should give yourselves a round of applause. I mean, that is a testament to what we're doing. And there's a lot of work with, this table here, Janine and Karen, kind of organizing that, Mary, Anisha, Alicia, Andy, blah, 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 everybody that's involved. But this is big, because it lets the world know that we are to be seen. And so having this is a phenomenal thing. And as you can see, following up on 40 applications, we've got 42 in this year, and we'll probably know in probably the next 60 days how we did. And I can tell you from our peer group, there's never been a gold in Indiana. And so from that previous slide, I've got a side bet with the other CEOs, because there's a race to see who's going to have the first gold, because everybody wants to claim it. And so it will be a huge talking point for the group. So moving over to just kind of quick occupancy chart. Currently you can just see kind of where we've come, since COVID. I hate to, keep using that word COVID, but, it's still present and it still exists. And so, we're the blue line. So we're 2% higher than our state average, which is good. And we have some facilities that are at 99, and some that are at 60, so everywhere in between, but we're averaging this amount. And the real gap is a little bit larger than what's reflected here because our results are in the orange line. So we represent about 17% of the state. So if you just do that math, it's about 1.7% lower. So the gap's a little bit wider here, but we are leading the state in terms of overall SNF occupancy. Same thing holds true on the senior living side. We don't really get good state data on the AL side, but you just see kind of where their recovery has been, since COVID as well, because our AL portfolio went through COVID just as well as the skilled nursing sector did. And so, with the continued progress of Meridian on Commons, those percentages will keep going up. So. Great job to everybody. When I start thinking about just overall strategic things, this is something that we talked about, over the last couple of years. And this is our, I think it's known as PPHP, Provider Partners Health Plan. And so the blue line, or the blue counties that are shaded in, that represents what went live in 2025. And so just to kind of give the group kind of a flavor, so we have 18 counties that went live in 2025, January 1, 106 facilities amongst our peer group and us. We're in there. We had 40 of the 106 facilities. And our current enrollment collectively is around 2,400 residents in those 18 counties. So right now that would put us kind of the 4th largest long-term care owned ISNP in the nation. And another point that I would make note of is that PPHP with Indiana has 2 of the top 5 in the nation. So we've aligned ourselves with a partner that's been doing this for a while. So as we think about 2026, we're currently going to submit an application for another 32 counties in the state. So we've gone from kind of the enrollment and implementation in 24 to going live in 2025, but that didn't stop us, right? And so we started with the 18 counties in 2025 because of the mass, kind of the scale that we have. And so as we move to 2026, adding 32 more counties in. So that is impressive. And so that will put us in 50 counties of the 92 in the state, and that will put us over just under 200 facilities, out of 500. So that's pretty good representation. And so, it's something that we started back in 2022, in terms of just planning and just starting to think about how would we actually do this strategically, and then to see it kind of come full life, it's really impressive. And so we've gone from, kind of that initiation, now we're moved into the operational component to it. So, Andy and Alicia, you guys will be fundamental in terms of making this a huge success. And so we've got wrinkles that we're working through now. There's a lot of transition. If you think about this plan, it's guided by a nurse practitioner and an RN care coordinator. Well, that all has to be coordinated on top of what we're currently doing. So we've got some integration things that we need to work through, but we expect it to be phenomenal, to be honest with you. And when I think about and I talk to our joint venture partners, some of the folks on that previous slide, we're all, yes, we're competitive, but we also see this as a huge opportunity for the seniors in the state. And so we can be competitive on one side, but we can be collaborative on the other. And so we're extremely thrilled with where we're at so far. So as I think about, there's a lot of different factors of what we're trying to do with this Medicare Advantage plan. But one of the most significant items is to reduce the number of hospital readmissions and hospitalizations, ER visits. And I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of studies that have come out most recently that have suggested that the number of hospitalizations, readmissions, and ER visits, 45 to 60% of them are potentially avoidable that are coming out of skilled nursing. So if you think about that, that's why CMS gave us the blueprint of doing our own Medicare Advantage plan, because it's about delivering the highest quality in the lowest cost setting. And so that's what this focal point is. And not to say that the last 2 months are a trend by any stretch, but that's the impact that we're hoping to see. So as we move forward, you'll see more statistics around this provider, this health plan and this Medicare Advantage plan in terms of the benefits that it's offering to our residents. Next, before I move into kind of the federal and state updates, I like John, I like to laugh. And when I was putting this slide together, all I could think about is, a Parks and Rec. Just in terms of, because I've been spending the last eight weeks, meeting with legislative folks that have been talking about budgets and what we do as an industry, et cetera. So as I was putting this together, I had to put something in, and then I really couldn't decide. And so then I saw this, and I was like, well, okay, Indiana just did pass its budget. So I had to just put something in just for my own chuckles, because I entertain myself, as Mark can probably and Denise can attest, I like to entertain myself. So just quickly, to kind of go through and update the group, because there's several changes or several updates that you need to be aware of. I'll start with the state side first, because just last week, I think it was last Thursday at midnight, the budget for the state got signed off on. And I bring that up because, I'll just say that 8 weeks ago, we were looking at an $11.5 million reduction in rate, on the Medicaid side. And so that created conversation, as you might imagine. And then that then turned into, well, somebody needs to go present and and explain why that's a bad idea. And so, needless to say, so we came through with no decrease in rates, for the next couple of years. So that's monumental, in terms of the impact on the company, and particularly in the budget year. Indiana has a 2-year budget cycle. And so that's huge for us not to get hit with a reduction. Second big bill that got adopted that was kind of under the radar, but equally as important, is something that was called House Bill 1474. And I only put it in there just because I spent so much time talking about it that I couldn't get it off my brain. And so as I was putting this together, it just flowed like I was saying hi to everybody. House Bill 1474. I can't tell you how many times I said that in the last 8 weeks. But the key thing in that really does is it keeps the setting of Medicaid rates with the state. Because alternatively, it would have been the base rate would have been set by the 3 managed care entities. And you can imagine how that might go. If you think about managed care companies, if we enjoy a $300 Medicaid rate today, they probably would have said it should be $250, right? So that protection is big, for long-standing and long-term. And so we were able to keep that guardrail. That was a critical guardrail that we got put in. And it also, Katie, Sherry, you guys will appreciate on the claim side, we made the claims reporting much more substantial that the MCEs have to do to the state. And we build in some penalties, because one of our big issues is that they've really delayed payments. We used to enjoy a payment cycle of 21 days. It went up to like 60 some days. In true, insurance company fashion, there was no penalties for that. Well, now we've got interest penalties, and then we've now got penalties of $500 a day per claim for electronic claims that don't get paid in 21 days, manual after 30 days. And so we tried to put some meat into some penalties for delayment in payments. So that's big for us. Turning to the federal side. So we got the state side taken care of. Federal side, the 3 points that I would make for this group. Number one, there was CMS announced a rate increase of 2.8% effective 10/1, which was rather unusual, from the standpoint that, there's a budget reconciliation bill that asked for 1.5 trillion in cuts. But we don't ask questions. It's in its public comment period now. And so we're just like, shh, nobody say anything. So we're hoping there's no public comment during this period, so we'll get a 2.8% increase. Second item that's of importance for this group is I would venture to say that the staffing mandate has been eliminated. And there's a couple of, there was a Texas court case that vacated the claim April 7th. There's some, jabbering around whether or not there may be an appeal to that verdict. But the question is on that appeal, is it only so that it becomes a pay-for in the big budget bill on the 1.5 trillion? So we'll let the legal beagles, no offense to the attorneys in the room, but we'll let the legal people figure that one out. So the thought is they might need to appeal it, somebody might need to appeal it in order for it to be a pay-for, because it's that funny governmental math. And then lastly, I mentioned the budget reconciliation. I think a couple of weeks ago, you can't open up a news article or see anything on any of the news programs where it's not talking about, the Trump administration cuts here and there. And I'll give you the 40,000 foot level view of it, and then we'll just have to see how it matures through the next few weeks. But in essence, about 3 weeks ago, the House passed a budget reconciliation bill that really is just a footprint. It's a footprint, meaning that the House and the Senate have effectively agreed on increasing the debt level by $6 trillion, 4.7 to pay for the extending the tax cuts, and then other items relate to immigration and defense. But in exchange for that, 1.5 trillion in cuts that are going to come from somewhere. And so, what the agreement was is that the Senate will have 10 committees. I also have 11 committees. And the one that impacts us is energy and commerce, which is where Medicaid rests. And so what they've asked that group to do is come back with 880 billion of cuts over the next 10 years. And so you're going to see a lot of noise, and you're going to hear a lot of noise related to, well, how are we going to get there? And so, we'll be spending, some time, explaining, what the different, what the different items might be in terms of Medicaid eligibility, different, how things are split between, the ACA Medicaid expansion that's 90% funded by the federal government. That's getting way into the weeds. But we're going to be having a lot of meetings and so forth just to make sure that our folks in Congress understand what that impact to us, because what happens at the federal level will trickle down to the state. So we're paying close attention to that. So your part in this is if we get opportunities to bring folks from Indiana to our facilities, it's a great opportunity. And so I'm out there because I want them to see, because the people that make these decisions really don't know anything about our business. I mean, just to be perfectly blunt. And so when we have an opportunity to bring a legislator or somebody from Congress into our facilities, it's our opportunities for them to see what we do, right? And so don't be surprised if I call on some folks over the next 90 days, just to have that tour. And it's your opportunity and it's our opportunity to show what we do, show them the impact, show them all the positive things we do, but also show them where we need some help. And that's okay. They need to hear the good and the bad. And so seeing is believing. And so it's a great opportunity for us, and I actually enjoy it. Probably sick, but I like telling people about what we do, and the impact that we're having. That's powerful. And so to me, it's easy to talk about. And that's why I like these slides. This is very easy for me to do. I've given the same speech probably about 25 times in the last, 8 weeks. It's a different abbreviation, and I focus on different aspects of it. But these are the things that matter, to people, and it matters to us as a company. So if you think about employees, quality, entrepreneurial things that we're doing vis-a-vis the Medicare Advantage plan. I even told our governor, explained how it worked, explained why we were doing it, and he was fascinated. He applauded our entrepreneurial spirit about finding a solution and playing a part, and we do play a part, and we're looked to as a leader in the state. So don't ever take those things for granted. And so as we transition, and I've got just a few more minutes, I want to get everybody ready. I'm going to try and feed back. I won't do as good a job as John, but I'm going to do a little exercise with you too, to get you ready for the afternoon of great sessions and get the energy going, et cetera. So I would like everybody to stand up. And I want you to go greet somebody, but here's the condition. I want you don't really want to talk to them. You're doing it only because you have to, and you could really give two hoots about what they have to say. So go ahead. All right. All right. Okay, stop. Stop wherever you're at. All right. Now I want you to greet them like everybody that you see is your long lost best friend. And you haven't seen them and you're thrilled. Okay. Okay, make your way back. Make your way back. So as you're making your way back, you know, that's what you just experienced was positive energy. And that's what, you know, we all as leaders have a choice to do. And you could just feel it. I mean, I'm standing up here and, you know, you could see and you could feel it. You know, you could feel the energy from the crowd, you know, coming up. And so, you know, as you think about this afternoon and even beyond this afternoon, that was a choice you made, right? And that's how you should be leading your teams and all of your team members each and every day. And so before we leave, I only put this up here because Wes blows me crap every time he sees it in my office. His emotional intelligence is growing, so I'll give him credit. He's improving. And so he always asks me, because I'm generally a positive person. And so he always asks me, what is this thing here? And this goes back to that goes back to circa 1995. And I was at Ernst & Young at the time, you know, just a young staff accountant. And we were auditing Parkview in Fort Wayne, and they were like, hey, we're looking for some participants from outside the company in this leadership, building exercise. And I came away with, you know, through it was like a 6-week thing, and you know, this is what I got, a little tombstone, if you will, that sits on my desk, and it's a professional climate builder. And so for those that spend time with me, I try and be that positive, you know, and uplifting person. And so we all have that same opportunity, but I really just put it in here because I knew Wes was going to be in here for him to see it, that he usually just folds it down. So with that, I'm going to leave. We're concluding this part of the session, but in all seriousness, I want everybody to take that positive energy that you just exhibited to your sessions, because we will get more out of it if we bring that positive approach to everything that we do. So take 15 minutes, and then you all have your assignments, and have a great afternoon. Thank you. All righty. I hope everybody got a chance to enjoy that nice barbecue. Andy, I'm trying to get your table to be quiet. Before I bring John back up, it was brought to my attention that I needed to make some public service announcements. So if you'll just bear with me for just a couple of minutes, I just want to share a few things with everybody. The first one, I want to share some napping etiquette. And there's a few ground rules I want to share with the group. Number one, don't lay on another company's displays. 2, don't nap in public. And if, for crying out loud, if you're going to nap, turn your name badge around. And last but not least, don't drool on any display pillows. Okay, next up, valet parking etiquette. And this was an anonymous tip that was sent to my way, so I'll protect the innocent. But here are a few etiquette rules for valet parking. First, don't pause for pics until after you're inside the hotel. Park in the same direction as the other vehicles if you have to park. Because both of those, 1 and 2, cause significant delays in the throughput. Causes a lot of frustration. So that's etiquette number 2. Okay, stretching etiquette. So this is Stacy. She's working the share to care booth down there. She probably doesn't even know her picture's up, but she probably won't know until somebody tells her. But here are a few ideas for the group. Number 1, choose your location carefully. Clear the path for foot traffic, for crying out loud. Number 2, whatever it is, it will be okay. And then number 3, if you're going to lay down on the ground, make sure your clothing doesn't match the carpet. And then I skipped over one. Wear shoes with better support, for crying out loud, not from Temu. Oh, and then last but not least, this is regular garage parking etiquette. And so the quick backdrop here is this morning I went to check on, I drive a Tesla, and I noticed on my app it wasn't charging. So I walked out to the valet, and they showed me where it was parked. We walked out there together. So I started by just unplugging Alicia's Tesla and plugging it into mine. So Alicia, wherever you're at, you might want to check yours later in the day. But while I was out there, they also are preparing for a public auction of vehicles. There's like 50 autos out there. He showed me where they were at, and then I started playing around. And then I had some fun because the top picture, I didn't get a good, I had to hurry. But that is a Dodge Monaco, if anybody remembers the movie The Blues Brothers. I had that same car in college, only green. You could fit 15 in it very comfortably. And then the last picture is the bottom. That's what happens if you linger too long. So that's my lesson for the group in etiquette. You can look, but don't linger. And then the last but not least, I put this in here for Mark Dice. Bail is not a reimbursable expense. So with that, I'll turn it over to John.
You remember, man. That's good. That's good. So that's what's called the warm-up act. If you do comedy, you have the warm-up act. And I'm like, that's a solid warm-up act. That was good. Hey, if everybody will take out your phones real quick. Cool. And if you notice you don't have yours, this might be it. We found this on the floor, and it was just brought to me. Wasn't that a clever way of doing it? Is anybody missing their phone? Anyone? On the background screen, it's like 2 cute kids. Boys, I think. Now it won't turn on. So, it's 2 boys. So if anybody has 2 boys, you don't have to claim the boys, just the phone. So I'll just leave that up here, and you can come get it later if you lost it, okay? Next, I would like you to take a minute and look around to the people you're sitting with, look around to the venue you're in. I would like you to think of 3 compliments that you're going to share with your table. These could be compliments about the cute outfit someone's wearing. It could be a compliment about the food you just ate, if there was something you enjoyed with that. If you didn't have one of those s'mores brownie things, you missed out. That was solid. But think of 3 compliments you can give. Give me a thumbs up when you have your 3 compliments. Take a second, look around. They should be real. 3 compliments. Don't say them yet. Don't say them. 3 compliments. And if you're at a table with only 2 people, you can share the compliment with somebody near you. Give me a thumbs up when you have your 3. I only get 40 minutes, so think quick. Keep them up. Keep them up. Perfect. Awesome. Share your compliments. Go. And that's time. Did anybody compliment my shirt? No? Cool. Thanks. But thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm part of a team now, so I get to wear the jersey. I like it. Let me ask, is that how you start your day? And if it's not not a yellow shirt, but the compliments thing, are you starting your day by just waking up and just kind of going through the day? Or do you ever wake up and look for the positive? Let me give you some stats real quick. 50% of your day-to-day happiness is genetic. And that sucks. Honestly, that's a bad stat. I don't like knowing that. That means 50% of your day-to-day happiness you don't have a ton of control over. That's why some people are on medication. That's why some people need therapy. That's why a lot of people do things because they don't have control over it. It's literally the brain chemicals, right? Now, the next 10% deals with life circumstances. Honestly, this is a very good deal. That means whether you're having a good day or a bad day based on the things going on in your life, it only affects 10% of your overall happiness. The last 40% is under your control. There are things that you can choose to do or not do that can make you happier. And one of the things you can do is reflect on the positive. There's a study, a Harvard study that says if you can do 21 days in a row, where every day you wake up and look for 3 positives, and just start your day every day for 3 weeks, you start wiring your brain to just wake up and look at the positive. How many of y'all drink coffee? That was a very aggressive hand raise from you, ma'am. Right? I tell she loves it a lot, right? When you drink your morning coffee, a lot of you, like if you make it at home or whatever, you don't really think about it. But that better be something you're grateful for one of those mornings. Because think about how angry and horrible a lot of you are until you've had your coffee, right? I've seen you, okay? I've seen. But we don't really think about being thankful for that. It's just something we have, right? But I mean, your health, your kids, your friends, you can go on your stupid reality show. Like anything that you enjoy, that can be one of your things. Now, the deal is you can't repeat. So 3 things that you appreciate or you're happy about every day for 21 days without repeating, your brain will literally start approaching the mornings differently. So I challenge you to do that. Okay? For the next thing, I'd like you all to stand up. And this isn't gym class, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but I would like you to stretch out. Actually do some of those old stretches. Touch your toes, reach up, do the cross arms. You can even do the legs and bend, whatever you want to do. What I'm having you do right now is start to work your body. There is more and more science coming out every year that shows the connections between your physical body and your mental health. So literally, a lot of you have been sitting this morning in here, and then in rooms over there, and now back in here. Some of you ran to the casino, I know, right? And then you ran out when you ran out of money, right? But the thing is, the physical is important. I don't know how you run meetings, but sometimes it's nice to just tell everybody to stand up. And I see somebody over there like marching in place. Like literally, no, don't laugh. I'm telling you, the more you get your blood flowing, the more oxygen is going to your body. And one part of your body that needs oxygen is your brain. So literally when you're physical, if you're ever stressed out about something, go for a walk. So whether you are stressed or not right now, go for a walk. Start walking around the room. Go. Literally start walking. Everybody's looking at me. Start walking. Now walk like you're trying to get somewhere. Don't leave the room. I see some of you. I see. But yeah, move a little bit quicker. Again, you can walk with your friend, but walk quicker. Walk quicker. Some of y'all are walking real slow. Some of you are just standing. And 3, 2, 1, and just stop where you are, please. Stop where you are and turn toward me. I want to talk very quickly. I have a whole hour presentation, but I'm not doing that, on emotional intelligence. And there's 5 components to emotional intelligence. I'm only going to focus on 2 of them right now, but they are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, social awareness, and social regulation. The first one is self-awareness. I will tell you, my emotional intelligence score, I've been tested on it, is pretty high. My lowest score is on self-awareness. Because if I'm with a group of people, and bosses listen, because a lot of this is going to sound familiar, I'm really good at seeing what my team needs. When I'm with my family, I can recognize when somebody in my family is upset, or when they're not doing I know to check in with my kids, with my cousins. A lot of people I can connect with and recognize that. But sometimes I'm about to lose my mind, and I don't even think about it till I'm at a breaking point. Because some of you are so good at helping everybody else that you never check in with yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. If I recognize that I'm struggling in an area, well, then I know what works for me. Like, I know, like, deep breathing techniques will help. Stepping away from the situation if I can. Taco Bell. Like, those are the things. Don't laugh. That's what works for me, okay? Right? I see you, right? Listen, I don't drink. I don't gamble. I don't smoke. I don't have a lot of vices. But when I've had a bad day, I just want some junk food. Right? And health experts are like, you should find, I'm like, you shut up, all right? We all need our thing, right? I just need to get away. Literally, sometimes when I'm stressed, I'm like, I'm going to drive to Taco Bell. And listen, I don't even go to the Taco Bell right by my house. I drive to the farther away one for 2 reasons. Number 1, I like the staff better there. That tells you how often I go. And number 2, like, I like the drive. I don't listen to music. I don't listen to podcasts. It's just quiet in those moments. So I have some quiet, I get something that's going to give me diarrhea, and then I go home, and then I can face whatever it is, right, after I go to the bathroom. But the idea here is check in. So right now, I want to tell you, I don't know how you're doing today. I would hope most of you are pretty okay today because you're not dealing with the regular stresses of your job. However, I've heard several people talk about the large number of texts and emails they've been getting as they're here. I'll tell you, one thing you can do is set a boundary. Like, I know you're the boss, but they'll be okay. Don't check your phone again until a certain time, whatever that time is for you. Maybe that time is 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever it is. If you can set that boundary for yourself, it allows you to be more present. And then basically, the last thing I'll say about emotional intelligence, when it comes to self-awareness, you need to realize what's your trigger. Some of you, it's basically, I joke around, it's the Eminem song, right? Knees weak, arms are sweaty, or hands are sweaty, vomit on a sweater already, right? So, like, some people get stomach problems, some people get shaky, some people get sweaty. Do you all know what your trigger is? When you're feeling a strong emotion, you almost always have the same one. I'll tell you, mine is stomach issues. No idea why. I do, it's the Taco Bell. But really, like, if I have an argument with my wife, afterwards, I go to the bathroom. If I'm stressed out about something at work, I go to the bathroom. It's like my stomach, when I'm like, what's going on? All of a sudden, that's my brain's, that's my body's way of telling my brain, hey, you need to check in with yourself. Why are you feeling this? Once you recognize the thing that's going on in your body, then you go to what's going on in my life that's causing that. And if you learn to start checking in with yourself, along with look for the positives every morning, you can have a vastly different outlook on life. So I can't force you to do any of this, but I'm telling you, 21 days. 2 things I want you to do. Number 1, every morning, wake up, and in the first hour, try and name 3 positive things. Say them out loud to a family member or to yourself. And the second thing I want you to do is start scheduling self-check-ins. Because sometimes you don't want to do it. I'll tell you, when I went through this thing and got certified, I would put reminders in my phone. Like on a Sunday night, I would set them up for the whole week. So 3 times a day at different times, I would get a reminder text. I would look at it, and it would just say, check in. And that's basically going, how am I feeling right now? Like, how am I feeling mentally? How am I feeling physically? Like, if I'm feeling something physical, what's causing that? And I'm telling you, do those two things for 21 days, you build up better self-awareness, and you have a more positive outlook on life. Cool? I'm talking too long. Let's play another game. Everybody find a partner that you don't know that well. High five them when you find them. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner, and then look for somebody else with their hand up. Raise your hand and look for somebody with their hand up. They need somebody over here. Right down front need somebody. Right there. Oh, do you have somebody? Hold on, stop moving that way. Look this way. There you go. Right here. Perfect. Does everybody have a partner? Well done. Well done. Cool. I just completely forgot which game we were going to play next. I'm like, awesome. You all have your... Oh, yeah. I got ready to explain a game. We already played this. I'm like, we already played that. Okay, so look at your partner. No talking. Just point which one of you has longer hair. Cool. Some of these are easier than others. Here's the way it's going to... And beards count. Beards count. You're the longer hair. Yeah, as you say, I didn't say hair wear, right? Leave your clothes on. As long as we can see it, that hair counts. Here's the way the game works. If you are the longer hair of the two people, your number is 7. If you are the shorter hair of the two people, your number is 3. What's going to happen is I want the two of you to have a conversation about the things that you do when you're stressed out to relieve stress. I told you, I go for a drive, I get Taco Bell, I take a deep breath. That's the kind of things I do, right? So you know mine. So talk to your partner. What kind of things do you do to relieve stress? But here's the rule. If you're 7, every time you talk, you have to say 7 words. If you're 3, you only get 3. Now listen. 7, if I talk and only use 7, that's all I get to say until it's my turn again. I ran out because I didn't use them all, right? Or if, the same person with the 3, somebody asks them, it's just like, do you like to go for a run? Not really. Bro, I don't know. Like, you have to use all 3. You don't get up to 3 or up to 7. You have to use the entire amount every time. Got it? 7 and 3. Turn to your partner. Taller person, you have 7 words, you're going first. What do you do to relieve stress? Go for it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's time. Give your partner a high five. Well done. Well done. Good job. I always love that rush of people talking right now, the people that wanted to say something and they couldn't get it all out. Like, okay, well, now I can say what. So here's my question. Did you like that game with the number of words that you had? So just the long hair people, so the people that got 7, I want you to give me a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs sideways if it was okay, or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Just the long hair people, just the 7s. Hold them up, keep them up. Awesome. I will say the majority were doing, it was okay, but then there were about as many thumbs up as thumbs down, right? Now from the people that had 3, thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or thumbs down. What's interesting, you got double thumbs down from that guy. What's interesting is even with somebody voting more than once, which is illegal, but there's no mistakes, so you're allowed to, just not in real elections. There were more thumbs up than thumbs down in here. That's interesting. That doesn't happen. Now, before I give you a debrief of the game, I need to ask something because I haven't seen that before. I want you to think right now, are you more of an introvert or an extrovert? And I always like to remind people, I know you're all an ambivert or an omnivert, meaning depending on the situation, you're one or the other. But here's the question. If you're tired and you've had a long week at work, do you want to go hang out with your friends? You're an extrovert. You want everybody to go away and leave you alone? You're an introvert. So who are my extroverts in the room? Who are my introverts in the room? Yeah, I knew it. Okay, so this helps it make sense. The reason those of you that had 3 words had a vast majority of you still giving me a thumbs up is you're an introvert and you don't want to talk that much anyway. Okay, so that made it make more sense because I was a little confused, right? Now what's funny is my extroverts that got 7 words, some are more likely to give it a thumbs up because at least I got to talk more. But I'm still going to get a lot of thumbs down or even sideways for extroverts because they're still being limited. You might not guess, but I'm an extrovert. Those laughs are hurtful, okay? But I love to talk. I love to listen. I love to learn about people, but I hate this game. This is actually an improv game we play on stage where the audience gives each performer a number and then we have to have conversation. You might have seen on Whose Line Is It Anyway or whatever. We play this game and it's so hard because I'm like, oh, thank you. Because like I'll get 2 or whatever. It's so hard to say anything, right? But what's interesting in both rounds, whether you were the 7 or the 3, there were people doing this, this, and this. But you were all living under the same rule. But you had a different opinion of the rule. And this is going to come into play because of a million factors. Your personal behaviors, your personal motivators, your personal opinions on stuff affects everything you do. But I bet most of us, self included, are guilty because we think somebody who has the same job title as us is struggling with it. Like, well, if I could do it, they should be able to do it. If somebody complains about something, it's just like, well, I'm dealing with the same thing. Or you think you have it work. Like, well, why can't she blank? I've got 3 kids at home, and I'm doing more than she. What? We all the time choose one factor to compare ourselves to other people and then expect us to all be on the same page. But like I said, there are a million factors. We're not even talking about external factors of people that have a second job, or they have kids, or they have split families, and so they're sharing kids. There's a million factors. Even if we get rid of all that, just who you are, there's a million factors with behavior and motivators and all these things that make you who you are that impede certain people in certain areas. I think what sucks is I was a teacher for 15 years, and I would see kids in a range of ability just support each other. Like you would see, I mean, there's a million videos out there of like, there's a kid with special needs who's like a manager for the basketball team, and they let him go in, and the whole freaking school goes nuts for him. Right? There's these stories of I mean, I can tell you, when I was a kid, there was a girl who ended up being nominated for the prom court. And she went to prom with one of the kids that she like mentored who had a lot of developmental disabilities. But she went to prom with him. And she was in my class, and I go, I heard you're going to prom with so-and-so. And she's like, yeah, he had told me nobody had asked him yet. And I'm just, again, we just step up, right? But do you know some of those kids grow up to get jobs? And then all of a sudden we no longer go, oh, but we don't give the same grace. Like after high school, all of a sudden we compare everybody. The area where I have to remember this is while I'm driving. Like how many of you are horrible, angry drivers like me? Horrible, angry drivers. I am working on it so hard. The best advice I ever got from somebody was, she told me, she's like, oh, whenever I think a car is driving poorly, I just imagine that's my grandma driving the car. Because my grandma's an awful driver. And I'm like, cool, yeah. My grandma was an awful driver. My mom was an awful driver. And apparently I am an amazing driver surrounded by idiots, right? But what I've learned to do is just assume they've got stuff going on. I have another friend who was almost in a fatal car crash. I have another friend who was in the passenger seat and the driver died. And so when they drive, they talk about being overly cautious. And again, as aggressive drivers, You get so frustrated with other people, but you don't know the things that have happened in their life, right? So the more we can just be conscious. Again, I'm going to challenge you. And this one's the one that, honestly, I talk about this all the time, and I'm working on it daily. When I go to McDonald's and they screw up my order, they're doing their best. And if I can just assume that other people are doing their best, it helps me be better for them. But honestly, it's better for my own emotional health too. I don't get so many of those stomach things anymore because when somebody does something that frustrates me, I'm like, they're doing their best. And I promise you, if you do your best as a leader, you'll be surrounded by people who want to do their best for you, right? You want to make your parents proud. You want to make your coaches proud. You want to make your friends proud. So if you do your best, they're doing their best, and sometimes they fail, they mess up, but as long as we're doing our best, we're going to be okay. Awesome? For our next game, I need you to stay with your partner, and I need you to go find 2 other groups. You're going to get in groups of 6, okay? And then you can have a seat at any table. Just don't touch other people's stuff. If you want to sit, you can sit with your group, or you can stand. I don't care either way. They need 2 more over here. Okay, so you can be a group of 5 if you need to. So they need 3, and they need 2 more. You want to join them? Perfect. Does everybody have a group of 6? Did that really work that well? Does anybody else need somebody else? Again, they need 2 more over here. Does anybody else need a group? Oh, you need 2? Does anybody? They're coming to you, so you're going to have enough. Does anybody? You need 3? So the 3 of you go join them, and you'll make a group of 7. Oh, never mind, you have 5 now. You need 1 more. 5 is okay. 5 will work. There's only 4 of you. Does everybody else have a group? We're all good everywhere else? Okay, I hate to do this. You all have to say goodbye to each other, and you each go make a group of 7 with some other groups that are already existing. Okay? So 5 to 7 works. Actually, one of you go join that group of 5. There you go. Yeah, join them over there. Okay. Now listen, this one confuses people. So let me make sure we all understand it. First thing I need you to do is think of something that annoys you. Let me give examples. We played a different game last year where we used these things. So I already had you think of things that you wanted to complain about. But my biggest complaint this year is when I'm in the airport and people are watching videos on their phone with no headphones. Or when I'm at the grocery store and they're talking to their friends. And I'm like, I don't care what kind of cheese you're going to buy. Why don't you push that little button and you listen to them, not make everybody else, right? Anybody that puts you on speakerphone and I have to hear it, that's my biggest pet peeve, okay? So take a second right now. Think about, again, we just talked about driving. What are things that people, like left lane is just supposed to be for passing, right? So I have a million. Think of something that complains you. That you want to complain about, something that annoys you, something your kids do, something people at work do, whatever you want. Think of it. Once you have yours, give me a thumbs up. A lot of angry people in here. That was very quick. Cool. Take a second. Some people are still thinking. Our calm people need another minute. What annoys you? Keep the thumb up. Keep the thumb up when you have it. I'm waiting to see. I still see some people thinking. What annoys you? What annoys you? Cool. Thumbs down. Those of you just walking in, go join a group. They can help you figure it out. Next, I want you all to think of any random thing that you could buy at like a Target or a Walmart or a Meijer or whatever. Just think of anything you could buy in a store. You all got it? Now here's the game. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to go around your circle and everybody's just going to say what they bought at the store. So I could say, I bought a book. The next person's like, I bought toilet paper, which I guarantee people in this room, there's somebody bought book, somebody bought toilet paper every time those come up. Somebody's like, I bought a candle. Somebody's like, I bought a blouse. I'm like, ooh, girl, what color, right? So we'll have a conversation, but we'll go around and say what we all bought. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go around a second time. But the second time is going to take a lot longer because the first person's going to say, here's my problem. I hate when people don't use headphones and just listen to their video out loud. Everybody, you don't necessarily have to go in a circle, but everybody other than the person who named the problem, everybody's going to say, okay, remember I bought blank from Target? Here's how I'm going to use my item to solve your problem. Now, some of you are laughing because you realize this is going to get weird, right? I want to remind you about the rules of improv. Rule number 1 is yes and. So whatever they say, it's possible. We accept it. Number 2, there are no mistakes. Number 3, be fully present. So don't try and Google something. Don't try and get creative. Let me give an example, because I had a woman raise her hand. She's like, I don't get this. I'm like, what's the problem? She's like, okay, I bought a book. And the first woman's like, we got a new puppy, and it barks all night. So that's what she wanted to complain about. And so how do you solve a book? And some of you right now are choosing violence, and I'm saying no. No, right? No. We're not going to hit a dog, right? Let me give my more kind answer. Remember, this is an improv world, so here's what I would do. I would teach the dog to read. Then I would give the dog the book. You know, a lot of you read at night, and then you get sleepy, and you go to bed. Boom, I solved it. And the lady goes, but a dog, oh, okay, I get it. Now, all of a sudden, it clicked in her head. She's like, oh, this doesn't have to be real. That's the point. Okay, now, so one last thing. So if my item, I can't figure it out. Like, she shared her problem. Everybody else went. I'm the last one to go before we move on to the next person. I can't think of it. I would just remind the group what my item is. I'm like, okay, I need help. This is my item. How can I do it? Let the group help you come up with it. Cool? After that person goes, the next person. So each of you is going to share your item. The rest of the group will solve your problem. So your item is going to be used to solve everybody in your group's problem. Got it? So first thing, everybody share your item and then start solving problems. Go for it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And stay where you are. Give yourselves a hand, if you will. Awesome. I just have a couple. Stay where you are. It's just easier this. Raise your hand if at least one person in your group chose violence. Look, we got to do what we got to do, right? We got to do what we got to do. Next. Raise your hand if your choices got weirder as it went along. Anybody notice that? This is to bring back the point that I talked about earlier. Remember we talked about brainstorming? Just get stuff out of your head. When you are stuck, you don't feel like there's an answer. Whether this is personal, professional, you feel like we're like stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's no solution. You're getting frustrated with other people. None of the ideas are working. This is what you do. You get real weird. And I mean, let your brain play. Because there are ideas right now that you're not saying out loud, which goes back to that mind meld game we talked about earlier. We don't want to say the thing. We don't want to speak up. But if we start sharing out, I even say this, hey, share out all the bad ideas you have. And so often, one of the bad ideas was the good idea. Or the bad idea gave somebody else an idea. Well, we couldn't do that, but we could do this. Well, we couldn't afford that, but what if we did this? And you'll find the solution. Because once your brain gets going, you will be shocked at how creative you are. You will be shocked at how good you are at solving problems, at overcoming obstacles. But you got to get through the muck. You got to get through. I'm telling you, very rarely is your first idea the best idea. But most of you have one idea, and you either shoot it down or you try it doesn't work, and then you're stuck. But that first idea is literally just to get us going. Right? The word fail, I mention this every time I talk. It's an acronym. FAIL stands for First Attempt in Learning. I need you to try. And then we can find out what worked and what didn't work. That's all this is. All life is trial and error. But if you won't speak up, if you won't try it, we're just going to be stuck forever. So go ahead and be wrong. Go ahead and share the bad idea, and then we'll learn a whole lot more from it. Cool? Nailed it. It's 1:45 now. We're taking a 15-minute break, and then session number 3 will start at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Woo!